in, and also John Fitch. And so with that being said, it all basically what it all boils down to, there was a lot of exchanges that was going on, but Johnny Hendricks had him taken down about 12 times throughout the whole fight. I mean, 12 times, and grounded and pounded him. I mean, that's basically what he did. He grounded and pounded him too, and as well as was out striking him. But what really got Carlos Condit going, really got it surviving, was the fact that even though Johnny Hendricks was able to take him down, Johnny Hendricks really couldn't effectively ground and pound him. But Carlos Condit on his back kept busy, kept scrambling, kept punching. So it was a really, really hard fight. And on top of that, too, Johnny Hendricks, I found out has a broken hand, too. So, oh my goodness. So if one of your weapons get broken, it's pretty hard to use it against somebody. So, wow. Tough break for Johnny Hendricks, but Johnny Hendricks was still able to utilize his wrestling effectively, very strong. And that's what made the difference in this whole three-round fight. But at the same time, though, Carlos Condit was able to outstrike him at times too, and especially in the third round, that's when we really saw Johnny Hendricks almost gassing out. But Johnny Hendricks, though, just kept on grabbing him and just kept using his power and wrestling ability and kept putting him down. But he was just hanging on for dear life at that point. He wasn't really advancing and really hitting Carlos Condit. And that's what really got Carlos Condit beat, and to be honest with you. It was just a lot of slams, a lot of just a lot of coming back and counter striking, especially the part of when Carlos Condit tried to do a flying knee. He got clipped, but yet he grabbed him right away and slammed him to the floor. So, but in any event, though, Johnny Hendricks did win the fight. So congratulations. And now Johnny Hendricks, he could be the #1 contender for the Georges St. Pierre's, or basically the welterweight championship. Or anybody whoever would have won Nick Diaz and Georges St. Pierre fight, but he wanted Georges. He wanted Georges St. Pierre. He didn't want Nick. He wanted to actually even challenge him. If you don't accept it, I'll come to your house. I'll get a referee. We'll fight right there too. That's how bold Johnny Hendricks is. So I like that. That was pretty cool. So congratulations on such a co-main event victory. And in the main event, the UFC Welterweight Championship was online as one of the most anticipated fights in a long time. As Georges St. Pierre, the champion, defending his title against Nick Diaz, his the older brother of Nate Diaz. Nick Diaz, the former Strikeforce welterweight champion, and the winner, and still the UFC welterweight champion, Georges St. Pierre, via unanimous decision. Now, basically what it all boils down to is this. I'm just going to break it down very simple. It just basically happened in nearly all 5 rounds, except for the third and fourth round for the most part. Georges started off ground pounding. Took him down with slams, grounding and pounding him, but it wasn't just the fact that he grounded and pounded. He out-wrestled him. He just kept switching to the sides. Every time when Nick Diaz tried to scramble, he had so much control that he just kept going to the side, kept pounding him. And I was surprised that he did not do any more knees. He did not knee him enough to the side like he did with Matt Serra when he had him in that position. I was very, very surprised on that. But also, it wasn't just that. But every time when Nick Diaz would go on his feet, Georges would also got him some good leg kicks, got him with some good roundhouses, but also what he really did too during the third and the fourth round was he outboxed him. Nick Diaz had hit him only once, but it didn't really do too much to Georges. He might have made a little cut, but that's about it. Georges really pounded him so many times, took him down so many times, controlled him, and at the same time, even on the standing up, Nick Diaz, as a good boxer as he was, he didn't trade too much with Nick Diaz. He did, but he boxed smart. He did not trade like an idiot. He boxed and just kept throwing those nice jabs and kept hitting Nick and kept rocking him. And there's even some times, when Georges had him on the ground or had him all scrambled up, there were times when the bell would ring, Nick Diaz tried to throw a cheap shot at Georges. I'm like, oh my goodness, Nick, come on, are you kidding me? Try to throw a cheap shot? What kind of man are you, man? Please, man. And all this trash talking that Nick Diaz did, even though they're trying to sell a fight, he did a great job at that. And Georges was simply being a gentleman in the end and giving Nick credit for selling the fight and being there longer and everything like that. But let's be honest, Georges wanted to pound him. And even though he may not have beaten him to a bloody pulp like he did, but he did beat him, and that was the whole point. He beat Nick, and even though that, like I said, I was actually surprised that he did not do any more knees to the side when he had him in that position. Yeah, he could have grounded and pounded him, but he did not finish Nick Diaz off, and I wanted him to really finish Nick Diaz. But in any event, he was able to win, and now he's still a champ. So what next for him? Like I said, Johnny Hendricks, I'm sure, will be next for him. Now, what's next for Nick Diaz? Well, Nick Diaz, of course, was all, struggling with his words at the end when when Joe Rogan was interviewing him. He was all talking like he was about to retire, and then he starts announcing he's retiring. Wow, this is about the second time he's announced that now that he's retiring. To me, I just feel like trash talkers like Nick Diaz and so many others like that, they are great fighters in their own way, and they can back it up. And at the same time, so much of that nonsense, all that kind of showmanship that is just plain stupidity, can only take somebody so far. You know what I mean? It only took Sonnen so far in this middleweight championship against Anderson Silva, and so many other trash talkers that try to talk trash against Georges St. Pierre, and yet, when the action starts boiling down, it's just not showing us much. I mean, Nick Diaz got dominated tonight. I mean, he got dominated, and Georges St. Pierre let him up a little bit, but I'm telling you, he got dominated on the ground. He got dominated on the feet too. And Georges St. Pierre was he has great humility in victory because he gave Nick a lot of credit, more credit than I felt like Nick really deserved, quite frankly. And like I said, so much disrespectful, so much of this talk. And Nick Diaz is just, he's just another old way of what the sport doesn't really need anymore. If he's retiring, I hope he does retire, and I hope he retires and starts getting more social skills, as some people would say. I mean, his social skills is just so bad that he just doesn't belong in today's MMA world anymore. He's too much of a dinosaur in that way, in such a way, the attitude of his, and even though he is a smart guy on the streetwise smart, but Nick Diaz is not necessarily the most educated that I've seen, even though he grew up rough and everything. But there has been so many other people that grew up rough in different neighborhoods and rough towns all around the world, and many of them don't act like Nick. And even though many of them may not be in the spotlight like Nick either, but guess what? A lot of fighters are in the spotlight. A lot of football players, athletes are in the spotlight that came from rough neighborhoods that don't even act as nearly as a jerk as Nick Diaz does. So Nick Diaz is an excellent fighter, and he's had his day. And I think now, sure, there's always going to be trash talkers and so forth, but the way Nick Diaz did things, went against, the authority and did things like that. Sure, you don't have to agree with everything the authority tells you and everything else too, but at the same time, though, just like what Dana White said. Dana White said you just got to play the game just a little bit. You just got to you got to play the game to get yourself by. You still have to play the game a little bit just to get by in life, just so you can function in this world. You got to play the game a little bit. You got to, learn the rules and know how to break the rules when you need to. But you have to know the rules first. You have to know the laws first. But in order for you to break them, in order for you to maneuver around the laws and things like that, and that's what Nick Diaz was not good at. He just did whatever he wanted to, and that was the attitude that I felt that was his downfall for his career. He had this I don't give a shit attitude. I'll do whatever the fuck I want, kind of yada yada, and it gave him success in some. But it only gave him so much success so far. And I think he would have gone further if he had better attitude, but Nick Diaz is Nick Diaz. Now hopefully his younger brother Nate would learn more from his older brother's mistakes. And I actually think that Nate Diaz has more maturity than Nick. I could be wrong, but let's just hope that Nate turns out a little bit better, and better as far as like how he plays the game, how he controls himself. Because martial arts should all be about, mostly having self-control. Yes, you can have your anger, you can have your passion and everything like that. But overall, you must have some kind of discipline. And I know Nick Diaz has discipline. He just does not always display it. That's the thing that pisses me off about Nick Diaz at times, is that I know he's disciplined. I know he's one of the most disciplined MMA fighters around. He just doesn't act like he is. And perhaps maybe once he retires, he will start acting like it. Who knows? Who knows about it? I know I'm rambling about Nick Diaz, but since he is retiring, like I said, I'm not going to lose sleep over it, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily hating on him either. I mean, I just wish that he would just be a little more, like I said, more disciplined in how he did things, not getting too many fights outside of the ring, and just a lot of things like that, like he did. But he was also exciting to a lot of people, so it is what it is, you know? It is what it is. As far as Georges is concerned, I wish he'd, finish off more fights, but obviously, I guess he's just now getting to a point in his career where I guess he is content in not finishing off fights. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with Georges. I mean, I know Anderson Silva, guys like Anderson Silva would have finished you off. Boom, and down, but I don't know. Georges, I mean, like I said, he's still the best in the world. He still is a champ. He still is a winner. I shouldn't be complaining too much about it. I just feel that it's been a while since Georges St. Pierre has finished off anybody. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, any event, UFC 158, I just wish I would have saw more fights, but it is what it is. I didn't get a chance to see them. There was a lot of things I had to do that had to get done. But things happen, and now we just got to roll with the punches sometimes. And then now we just got to move forward in our lives. And so, but at least I got to see the title fight, and I got to see the pay-per-view card. And that was also very important. So it was definitely not the best event I've seen, but the title fight was pretty good. But I really feel what stole the show really was the main co-main event. That really stole the show, if you ask me. So, any event, what do you guys think about Nick's retirement? I would like to know that. What do you guys think about Nick's retirement? I already told you about it. What do you think about Nick's retirement? And do you think that Nate Diaz will follow the same path as Nick? That's another question I would like to hear from you guys too. In any event, I'm going to get going. I am going to see, once I'm done with this video and getting all this done, if there's any time left, I can go and see if I can meet up with some people to see if they're hanging out or what's going on. So, any event, and by the way, I just want to let everybody know, happy St. Patrick's Day to y'all. Have fun, but have fun responsibly. Definitely, as usual. And I like to say that because I have fun responsibly, so I live by example. So why not say it too? Why not? If you become a shining example, one way or another, you'll have other people, that could follow you through. You just have to sometimes be the shining example that you want to see in the world. And sometimes, if you want to see in the world, you have to be that person. And that's all you gotta do sometimes. Or all the time, really, if you really think about it, as much as you can. So, anyway, my name is Bear Thunder Heart, aka Bear. I'm gonna get going. So take care, everybody. And like I said, happy St. Patrick's Day, and take care. Healing, it is all that is.